Hey, Sanbonani, Sanbona, I see there is someone who is entered, so we are, yes, so we can go on ahead. The other streaming link just refused to work completely, so I'm trying to just send a message there to let people know that it's not working. So thank you so much for your patience. This is going to be more of you're supposed to have already been watching the videos that I post on YouTube to have an idea of the personal pronouns and the different classes of nouns, so that you are able to follow along with this. Sawubona, Reka, Orion, Sanbonani. Yeah. So we are just waiting for maybe just a couple of more minutes before we start, and then we can go on ahead with our work for today. And those of you, I remember in the other video, in the other link, someone had asked for a dictionary, a recommendation for a dictionary. This is the dictionary I use, isiZulu. There is an Oxford one. I think it's also okay. It's blue in color. As far as I could tell, it looked okay. And then I don't use apps for dictionaries, so I can't recommend one as yet. But yeah, but let's see. Maybe I must just try one at some point. Then we'll see. But I have not actually tried an app as a dictionary yet. So I'll let you know once I have tried one out. So what we are working on are possessives today. Possessives in different classes, as I usually do. So you will be learning how to say things and say this belongs to so and so in different ways. So yes, Sanbona Busani, Sanbonani. So I think let's go ahead and start. I believe that whoever would have been joining us is here. At this time, it's already 10 after 8 p.m. here in South Africa. I don't want to keep people unnecessarily. That would be unfair, disrespecting your time. So yeah, I will do this. Okay, so if you can hear me, please confirm, just sending me a yes or yebo on the comments, just to let me know that you can definitely hear me. I want to know if I'm clearly audible. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Busani. I appreciate that. Ngiyabonga. So we'll start with things like, when you're saying that this is more of something that we have spoken about on the channel, like some videos that I have done. So when you're saying that my this and my that, how you would say my friend or my mother or my dog or my house or your house or your dog, that kind of thing. We'll start with that, and I'll just give different examples, and then we can go on ahead now and move on to a different way of saying possessives. Now, when I ask you a question, as in how you then think you would be able to then do, to then answer, you then just type it on the chat, please. So we'll start with class 1 as usual and say now, when we are saying my friend, how do I say my friend? this we say umngani to say umngani wami. So we're talking about myself. We say umngani wami. The me is the one that we are talking with, that refers to me, but the wa is the actual friend themselves. So the person, this is going to sound funny because I'm saying you own a person, but the one that belongs to you. You get it, I'm sure. So the person that belongs to me, or the thing that belongs to me, is then going to be the first prefix, that prefix, so the wa in this case when we're talking about umngani wami. So wa, it is talking to the object, and the me is talking to the owner, so myself. Kho, Kho, is talking to you. If I'm talking about you and I'm saying you own this, so that Kho is you. And then the wa is whatever you are owning. If we are saying Khe, so we're talking about someone else and whatever they are owning, then Khe, that's that person. But the thing that they are owning is then going to be the wa. So we'll see that wa changing. The Khe stays the same. The Kho stays the same. The me stays the same. So all of the second part of the word of the possessive is the one that stays the same. But the first part of the possessive is one that changes depending on the object itself that is being owned or possessed. Not possessed as in mad, but possessed as in being owned, so belonging to. So we've started with saying umngani wami, which is my friend. And then when we are talking about my friends, then we would say abangani bami. So you just check on the comments there, abangani bami. Do you see the connection there? The ba on abangani, that's the one that we are talking about. Now we are linking the two by having the ba on bami, so the possessive, abangani bami. Now with things like, or rather people, like brother and sister, you are going to see the same thing come up, the same thing over and over, like there's no change much, but it's something that you need to understand, that your brother and your sister, in a village sense, in the true sense of our culture, the brother and sister does not actually belong to you alone. The brother and sister belongs to everyone else, so all the other kids in the village or all the other kids in the community. So you are going to see them not necessarily being exclusively yours, but belonging to everyone else. But I'll explain how we then talk about them and say, but this one, we're talking about your sister, and then here we are now talking about my sister. You're going to see that. So we are going to start with class 1, of course. So we are going to do my brother, which is umfowethu. Umfowethu, do you hear? It's a plural. Wethu, ours, our brother. But I'm actually talking about myself. That's my brother. So I have 2 brothers, myself. So abafowethu is what then that is. Abafowethu, because that's plural. But now, that's not talking about you. So you will see when I'm now talking about you and someone who belongs to you. And then we're still on class 1. Let's say, for example, you want to say my person, maybe my special someone. But you're not saying my lover, you're saying my person. In English, my person. Umuntu wami, and this is a very common one. Umuntu wami. I actually still have my ear part from my headphones that I was wearing earlier. Don't laugh. Anyway, so umuntu wami is then my person. So someone, your significant other. Abantu bami, I don't know how many significant others you would have, but for example, if I'm talking about, maybe say I'm talking to my friends about my kids, I say abantu bami. So that's plural, abantu bami. So they belong to me, they are mine. But it's not like the word for saying my kids. It's just saying my people, or my, my in plural, my people, abantu bami. And then my parent, one parent, umzali wami. Umzali is parent. Now wami is my parent, so that's just the one parent. And then abazali bami, my parents, so plural. I think at this point you are seeing the trend on class 1, that it's wami for singular and bami for plural. Then the possessives now for class 1A. Keep in mind that class 1A is similar to class 1. The only difference are the prefixes of the nouns themselves, because on class 1, the prefixes are for singular or umu, and they are aba for plural. But for class 1A, it's u, that's the prefix for singular, just u. And then for plural, it's o. So for example, umama, that's one mother, and o mama, many mothers, or more than one mother. So now if I'm saying my mother, umama wami, and if I'm saying my mothers, o mama bami. Now if I'm saying my mothers, who am I talking about? I'm referring to my mother and all her sisters, whether they are older than her or younger than her. All my mother's sisters are my mothers. The ones who are older than my mother, umamkhulu. The ones who are younger than my mother, umamncane. So all of those are my mothers. So when I say, oh mama bami, those are the people I'm referring to. If I'm talking about my father, ubaba. Ubaba wami. So one father. Oh baba bami. Same thing as in with mother. Oh baba bami. My fathers. If I'm talking about my great grandparent, so one of them, ukhokho wami. But now I'm talking about more than one of them. It could be them from my mother's side and them from my father's side, or just the two from the one parent side. But okhokho bami. Now also, let's say, for example, I'm talking about a body part, say ubhozo. Ubhozo is the big toe, so ubhozo wami. Yes, you do need to talk about your big toe at some point. What if you hurt it somewhere or somehow? So ubhozo wami, do you see? And obhozo bami, right? So obhozo then is the plural. Bami, do you hear that bami keeps coming up? Because it is the same thing. We keep it as in class 1. They really are the same. The only thing that is different between class 1 and class 1A are the prefixes. But really everything else is the same. Ubhozo is UBH. Without the H, then it becomes ubozo. Ubo. You see, the B without an H is B. That the same with father, baba. Do you hear? It's a softer B. And then, yes, so with two big toes, then it would be obozo bami. So if you're talking about two big toes. So that's plural. Now, let's talk about my sister, because sister does not fall in class 1, but falls in class 1A. My sister, the same as brother. That village, that community sense does not belong to you alone, but belongs to everyone else in the community, in the village. So even the neighbors' kids will say udadewethu. Even your what you would call in a European sense, you would call them cousins, but in an African sense, you would call them sister or brother. So they do not belong to you alone. So udadewethu is then what you would then say about your own sister, even though it sounds plural, it's on our sister, but it's actually my sister that I'm talking about. Udade wethu. So for example, if I'm talking about my big sister, for example, and I'm saying she's bigger than me, my sister is bigger than me, I would say udade wethu mudala kunami. Udade wethu mudala kunami. Yes, Samit, I do know that people can donate, and I think, I'm not sure, you guys can confirm because you can see, but I think Super Chat should be on. I believe Super Chat is on right now, so you can then, so people then can donate using Super Chat on the, or it should be below the comment section, I believe. So yes, so you can go ahead and do that. I would really appreciate it. So yes, so that's udadewethu, my sister. And then let's talk about odadewethu. That's plural, my sisters. So odadewethu. So in my case, let's talk about me. I have sisters, not people that my mother gave birth to, but as in like my biological mother, but my mothers gave birth to them, as in my older mothers or mamukulu, and my younger mothers or mamncane, so my mother's sisters. And I also have sisters who are on my father's side of the family, so obabekazi, my father's sisters, and obabomdala, obabomkhulu, no obabomncane, that gave birth to them, and that had them. So those are my sisters. They belong to all of us, and they are my sisters. I don't call them Zala, I call them Dadewethu. And then let's go now to class 2. Class 2 has the same possessive for the singular as class 1, but the plural has a different possessive. So let's talk about a house. So where I am, it's umuzi wami, my house. Umuzi wami. House is umuzi wami, that's the plural. That's the possessive. Now, let's repeat this, what I repeated earlier, because I know there are a few more people that have joined us. The wa, that's the two first letters in this case. So the wa is the prefix. That's the thing or person that belongs to you. And the me is the person that is owning or possessing whatever we are talking about. So the thing that stays the same when we are talking about whatever belongs to me is the me. You will keep seeing that part right through when we are talking about myself with all the different classes. But the thing that will keep changing is the prefix. That wa is the one that will keep changing depending on the class that we are on. So now we are talking about umuzi, and I'm saying umuzi wami, my house. Now let's say my houses. Imizi yami. Look at the prefix. The prefix is ya. Imizi yami. So that is something you've got to get familiar with, that, and you get familiar with this by practicing. What I like to do is, when I'm learning a new language, which by the way I am trying so hard to learn Kiswahili, and I am terrible. But anyway, I write these things down, and take notes. So when I meet up with my tutor, I then take notes, and then she sends me her notes. And then also with the videos on YouTube and that, I watch a video. So I watch the video and finish. I try not to do more than 10 minutes at a time, because I think then it's too much information for that one video. So then what I do is, then I go back to the video, I listen, pause, and write notes. Listen, pause, write notes, because then I am trying to keep this now in my mind and memorize it. Then I will walk around and annoying my family all day practicing it. so that they then know, that then I'm practicing this thing and trying to get it, to make sense to me as well and to remember it. And then I try and find people, especially on Twitter. Twitter is much easier. I try and find people who speak Kiswahili and then say things to them that, try and text in Kiswahili so that I am practicing. And then, of course, sometimes they laugh at me because I butcher things, but I am getting a chance to practice, and then they can then correct me, because you do need someone in the, who speaks the language that you are learning, who can then help you to practice. And then also to find someone who is cheaper than my tutor, because my tutor, she's very good, but now she's a little bit pricey, so I can't afford her for practice work. I can afford her for the lessons themselves, but now when I need to just talk to someone, then I look for someone like, say, for example, on the website preply.com, or on the other website, italki, the one that I use to teach on, italki.com. I then find someone cheaper, so that like someone who's less than $10, maybe say like $5 or so, and then like maybe an hour, so that I can then practice talking to them. And then they do correct, but I'm not really expecting them to teach me, because I'm not paying them that much. So it's just like not fair to expect them to then teach me as well, so yeah. But that's what I do in my learning, in to help me with learning Kiswahili. So that's what I suggest that you try and do as well, so that you can remember these things. It's one thing to just watch a video on YouTube, but it's yet another to then practice it yourself. Now that I've gotten the preaching and the sermon out of the way, let's continue. We're still on class 2. So another word, let's take a body part, like we did with class 1A. Let's take a body part. Umlenze. Umlenze is a leg, singular. Umlenze wami. You see, same thing, wami. But now with the plural, imilenze. Do you hear even the way the plural starts is different? So you should know this. I expect from the videos that we're talking about noun classes. So imilenze is plural. The imi is plural for class 2. So imilenze yami, my legs. We're not saying anything about my legs. We are just saying, making an example of how you would then talk about them. Yeah, Amber, I am totally, yes, I'm totally struggling with Kiswahili. So you're not weird. You're not weird at all. You must just take your time. I always think this to myself, to be gracious with myself. I am 42 years old. I'm trying to learn a new language. I live in South Africa. I don't live in East Africa. So I don't have, it's not like it's being spoken around me all the time. So, and also I don't really watch TV much, so I don't really get to then hear it all the time. I do try and watch some YouTube, like Ubongo Kids, which is a children's YouTube channel. That helps. The children's things, like children's books, things like that, help a whole lot, because they are shorter sentences, so they help a great deal. So yes, so umqamelo, that's another example for class 2. Umqamelo is a pillow, as in a pillow that you sleep on. So umqamelo wami. Plural is imi. So imi qamelo yami. I think you get the drift now with class 2. So let's move on to class 3. Ilambu, lami. Remember class 3, those ones, when they are plural, they are going to be ama. So ilambu, lami. La is the prefix, so that's showing the thing that you are talking about, that you own. And then if you see me looking this way, by the way, I'm looking at my other screen that has my that has the chat, so I'm not looking away from you guys. So ilambu is then a light or a lamp, and then lami then is the possessive. So my lamp. Amalambu ami, my lamps. amalambu ami. So do you see the plural possessive is then a, that's the prefix, and then me being myself. Idolo lami, my knee, idolo lami, and the plural amadolo ami. Let me just show you, to explain to you the difference between now this, because we've got a few classes that begin with, that have nouns that start with I, with the letter I. So the ones on class 3, they have an I followed by any letter of the any other consonant in the alphabet. But the ones on class 4 are an I followed by an S. So isi or is. The ones in class 5 are an I followed by an N, as in November, or an I followed by an M, as in mother. So that's the difference between them. So the ones on class 3 are actually all the mishmash that's left on the, after the class 4 and 5, basically. So now when we are talking about them, and whatever it is that's on class 3 that belongs to you, that is singular, it's la all the time, la. Now, whether it belongs to me, so la mi, whether it belongs to you, la ko, when it belongs to someone else that we are snitching about, then la ke, so that's what we are saying. So ithambo lami, that's a bone, ithambo. And now a bone is in, we're talking about bones as in the body, so skeleton, or we are talking about bones that are in an animal, so bone, ithambo lami. And then amathambo ami, amathambo ami, so my bones. So if you're talking about your bones and saying maybe they are feeling a bit achy, I don't know, so amathambo ami. And then now class 4 isixubo. Remember I just said to you that class 4 is the ones that start with an I followed by an S. So isixubo sami, my toothbrush. Don't touch my toothbrush. We do not share toothbrushes. That's disgusting. Yes, even lovers. So anyway, izixubo zami, my toothbrushes. Do you see it? The plural is za. The singular is sa. So isixubo sami, izixubo zami. So okay, let's move on. I'm glad you're enjoying the lessons, James. Please do make sure that you take the time to learn noun classes. It is your foundation in learning isiZulu, and it will really help you so much. It doesn't help to jump on to trying to make sentences when you haven't gotten that down, because you would really do yourself a disservice. So okay, so let's make it different. Let's use a body part like we did before. Isihluzu is the calf on the leg. So isihluzu sami, my calf. Izihluzu, that's the plural. The plural starts with izi. So izihluzu zami. You see that plural, the same, z, all the time. But what you need to notice is the z is going to be the same for class 4 and for class 5 and for class 6. So let's say now something that you wear, isikipa, a t-shirt. So isikipa sami. Yes, class 3 is followed by any other consonant, but class 4 followed by an S. The I is followed by an S. For class 5, the I is followed by an N or an M. So isikipa sami, my t-shirt. The plural is izikipa zami. Izikipa zami. And let's talk about a shop. Isitolo sami, my shop. Izitolo zami. Yes, I do wish to have shops one day. It will happen. So yes, izitolo zami. Let's go to class 5. Class 5, I need you to really pay attention I'm going to explain the nouns and go back to noun classes, so so that you just get the idea, because you've got to really know this, that there are nouns that are in class 5 completely, the singular and the plural. But there are nouns that are in class 5 only for the singular, only. Their plural is found in class 3. So I need you to pay attention. We are going to go through a few examples of the ones that are all in class 5 only, and then we'll go to a few examples of the ones that are in class 3 for their plurals. And then also what we need to do is also then show you that we've got nouns that are starting with IN and nouns that are starting with IM. So just pay attention a bit on that. So ingane yami, my child. Ingane yami. The plural is izingane zami, my children. There is another word for a child, which is in class 1. The word for a child is umntwana. A child or a prince or princess. So we are talking here, even if I am saying a child who belongs to the royal family, we are talking about, say, in English you would say Prince, let's say Prince Thuli. In isiZulu you would say umntwana uThuli. You wouldn't say prince ngesiZulu, you would say umntwana uThuli. There's no HRH, it's just umntwana, and that is the highest respect that you can actually give them by calling them that. So yes, so that's one way of calling, so like your prince or your princess, but also umntwana means a child. So if we were talking about them in class 1, we would say umntwana wami, one child, or abantwana bami, many children, so my children. And then we were talking about izingane zami, and then let's make another example. Let's say a dog, inja yami, inja yami, my dog. Do you see the plural? It's ya. And then we are saying, with the possessive, then we are saying my dogs, izinja zami. Then you'd hear in hip hop culture, people talking about my dog. I don't get it. I've never gotten it. But anyway, when I was younger, it used to be DAWG, but now it seems like it's now a proper dog. So anyway, so then you would hear then in hip hop people sing and say izinja zami. They are talking up. They are saying that. They are saying, Busani, stop laughing at me. I don't get it. So yes, but it's something that is said in hip hop. So when you hear that being said, they are talking about your homies, really, what they are talking about. So, but anyway, I don't know why someone would call another person their dog. But anyway, let's say a body part. Indlebe. Indlebe is an ear. Indlebe yami. And izindlebe zami, my ears. So do you see the plural and the singular possessives? And now let's go on to, okay, fine, let's go ahead and do we did do an animal, but let's go ahead and do this one. Inkukhu. Oh yes, Tim, then they say inja ye game, inja ye game. So ye is the possessive, inja ye game. So the dog, it's like the dog of the game, is that? I don't know why which other dogs. But anyway, so let's say inkukhu, my chicken. Inkukhu yami. My chickens is inkukhu zami. Now I'm missing my farming days. But anyway, yes, I used to be a farmer. First of all, when I was younger, we lived in Kababa, a beautiful, beautiful place by the sea. So you could see the sea from home. It's in KZN. So when we were there, I was I was 12 years old. I had chickens, and I was raising the chickens and then selling them, and then I would make money for, transport money to go to school, because I used to take 2 trains to school. So yeah, because I would go to school in Mlazi, where I was born. So it'd be 2 trains. So take a train from Umgababa all the way to Reunion Station, and then from the Reunion Station to Umlazi station. So all the way at the end of the train station, train line in Mlazi. So anyway, now we are saying imbali. So a noun that starts with an I am. Now that's imbali yami, my flower. So do you see that it starts with a different prefix, but the possessive is still the same. That's why they are in the same class, because they behave the same way when we speak about them. And then the plural of imbali is izimbali, flowers. So izimbali zami, my flowers. Let's speak of an animal that starts with an I am. Imvu. Imvu is a sheep. Imvu is imvu yami, so my sheep. And izimvu zami, my sheep, plural. So izimvu. Oh, I put a different noun. I don't know why, but anyway, izimvu. This one is also, by the way, here. But anyway, let me just. So imvu, my sheep. Izimvu zami, my sheeps. Is that it? No, we don't say that in English. It's just sheep, even in plural. So anyway, the one that I did right there that I said is imvubu, the singular is imvubu. Yami. What do you call that in English? It's a hippopotamus. Hippopotamus in English, imvubu. So yes, and then the plural is izimvu zami. Now here are these ones that I need you to take good note of. The ones that have their singular in class 5, but their plural is in class 3. And don't mistake this and think that it's only people. It's not only people. There are also things that are in here. So let's start with a thing, for example. Inkositina, which is a how do you say it in English? A concertina, the thing that goes yeah, inkositina. So inkositina yami, then the plural is amakositina. Do you hear the plural starts with ama, which we only see in class 3. So that's what we are needing to pay attention to here. Now, let's talk about people, for example. So we are saying inkosikazi first. Inkosikazi yami, my wife. Inkosikazi yami. And amakhosikazi ami, my wives. Yes, you can have more than one wife. Hey, just like I think a woman can. Isn't it? A woman can also have more than one husband. What's it called? Polyandry? Polyandry. So yeah. So anyway, indoda yami, that's singular, my men, and amadoda ami, my men, plural. So amadoda ami. You see, the plural is in class 3. Yes, it's totally, completely normal in our culture, and in a lot of yes, Ember, that's the same, almost the same as Kiswahili. In our cultures, most of African cultures, it's completely normal to have polygamous marriages. The only thing that I oppose is when you cannot afford to look after your family, but then you have more than one wife and then end up maybe having many children. That's not fair. That's not fair. But otherwise, keep your culture, do what your culture does, and respect your family, respect your wives, respect your kids. Don't do anything that is disrespectful, to those people. So yeah, but anyway, so like, don't go and bring someone and talk about getting married having not introduced the topic to your family before. That's not right. It's not done. It's not cultural. It's just disrespectful. And the wives that you already have actually have to approve. So indoda na yami, Indodana yami, indodana is a son, one son. Amadodana ami, that's more than one son, so plural. Amadodana ami, my sons. Indodakazi is a daughter, so indodakazi yami, one daughter. Amadodakazi ami, plural, many daughters or more than one daughters, more than one daughter. So do you see that singular and plural thing, that the singular is found in class 5, but the plural is found in class 3. So, and oh, hello there, Saidi from Kampala. My dear, when this corona is settled, I need to get to that lake in Uganda. I need to go there and just see it. It's just amazing, beautiful. So anyway, I would love to be there. Okay, actually right now I really just wish I was in Malawi by the lake as well. I love water. I am umZulu. Water is our thing. So I love water. So yeah, so just so you understand. So anyway, now that we are in class 6. Class 6, the nouns in class 6 are the ones that when you look at the singular and its pronunciation, then you look at the plural and its pronunciation, it looks different, as if it's a different word. Let me make an example about this thing. So this here, ukamba. Ukamba is a pot, a clay pot that is made for different uses. One of the uses is for drinking, so like for drinking beer, so traditional beer, uchwala. So then you can you drink with that. But the singular is ukamba. So there's, you see there on the comments, ukamba. So then you would say ukamba lwami. And then if you're saying plural, you would say izinkamba zami. Izinkamba zami. So izinkamba, do you hear and you see that the spelling also just changed so much, you know, from ukamba, which sounds softer, to izinkamba, which sounds a little more harder, the pronunciation of that syllable. It changed from k, which is aspirated, to nka. You see, so those are those nouns that are in class 6. So then we have, do you see the possessive? It's lwa for the singular, lwa. So LWA, lwa. It's one sound. Don't separate the sound and say lwa. It's lwa. Make it one single sound. And then let's say, for example, an eyelash, because I keep talking about body parts as well. So an eyelash. So ukhope lwami. And then for more than one eyelash, so the eyelashes izinkope zami. So if you're putting them on, you are putting izinkope. So izinkope zami. And mina izinkope zami azikho zinde. My eyelashes are not long, so probably need enhancement. I'm joking. I think they're fine because they are. But anyway, Sawubona Benjamin. Another body part. Don't know why I'm on body parts today, but anyway, another body part is udebe, a lip. Udebe. So udebe lwami, one lip. Izindebe zami, more than one lip, so 2 lips. You know, so izindebe zami and my lips. And then unyembezi. Unyembezi is a tear. So unyembezi lwami, one tear. Izinyembezi zami, more than one tear, so tears. So izinyembezi zami, there's a saying people say a lot, izinyembezi zami aziweli phansi. Aziweli phansi. This is, it kind of sounds like a threat when someone says it, but it's, you know, the message behind it is actually good. It says, it's basically, it's saying my tears don't fall down to the ground. So if I say my tears don't fall to the ground, say for example, you've done something to hurt me and made me cry. So my tears don't fall down to the ground, meaning that whatever you have done to make me cry, karma, dear, karma, it's coming back to you. So basically, that's what I was saying. It's kind of like a threat, really. So, yes, izinyembezi zami aziweli phansi. Back to the possessives. Ubuso bami, that's class 7. Ubuso bami. So those nouns that are starting with u, but are followed by a b, and those nouns that are abstracts from other nouns. So like ubuntu, which is the simplest explanation or definition for ubuntu is humanity, because remember the word ubuntu actually comes from umuntu, which we then find where in class 1. So it is an abstract of another noun. Then we find ubuntu in class 7. No plural. All the nouns in class 7 have no plural. So now let's see. We've got ubuso bami, my face. Do you see the prefix is ba? But when we are talking about yours, we would say ubuso bako. Do you see? The ba remains the same, but the me is what will change when we're talking about yours. If you're talking about he or she, then ubuso bake. So yes, so now let's say, for example, one of my favorite things, ubuhlalu are beads. So ubuhlalu bami, my beads, it's like beadwork. And then let's say an abstract, the ubusha, so ubusha bami, my youth. And yeah, so let's say class 8. Class 8, we have those nouns that start with uku and uku, and also ukw. So these ones, they are actually verbs that have been turned into a noun. So like for example, let's take the verb thula, which means quiet. Now let's make it a noun. You need to make sure that you are thinking about it as the subject of the sentence, not as an infinitive verb. An infinitive verb, as thula, the verb itself, if it is infinitive, as in to be quiet, then we would say ukuthula. But when we are talking about it as a subject of the noun, of the sentence, it will still be ukuthula. So ukuthula kwami, this is my, if I say to you my peace or my silence, that's not a verb. That is not an infinitive verb. That ukuthula is the subject of the sentence. We are talking about my peace. So, and then we are talking, say, let's take the verb khala. Khala is to cry. So the one for class 8 would be ukukhala, which is then the subject of the sentence. So ukukhala kwami. Do you see the possessives there? The prefix is kwa. So kwami, mine, my crying. I don't know why I would be crying. I don't want to cry. But anyway, ukukhala kwami. And then if I was talking about yours, I would say ukukhala kwakho. Maybe it's kind of annoying. So maybe kungibangela isicethe. So ukukhala kwakho kungibangela isicethe. Like you're crying is annoying me. That's not fun, but anyway. Ukufunda kwami. Ukufunda being from the verb funda, which is to learn or to study or to read. Ukufunda kwami, then my learning. So basically my education. And then ukuzazisa kwami. Ukuzazisa is to know yourself, and not only to know yourself, but to also pride yourself. So ukuzazisa kwami then would also then be falling into class 8. Class 8 has no plurals whatsoever. Now let's talk about these and say them for you. We started with We started with class 1. I'm going to cruise right through them. I need you to listen to the difference with the ones from class 1 to class 8, but I'm talking about things that belong to you. Right? Now listen to them. Umngani wakho, your friend. Abangani bakho, your friends. Umyeni, husband. Umyeni wakho, your husband. Abayeni bakho, your husbands. Yes, I did say that you can have more than one husband. It's called polyandry. Now, don't go to your husband and ask to have another husband and then say Tando said so. Don't get me into trouble. Okay. Now, let's talk about your brother. Remember, when I'm saying my brother, I said umfowethu. But now, I'm talking about you. I'm the one who's talking about you. You are not the one who's talking about yourself. So I am saying your brother. Umfowenu. Look at how it's spelled. Umfowenu, your brother. And if we are talking about your brothers, abafowenu, your brothers. And then for class 1A, umama. Umama wako, your mother. Do you hear? All we are changing here now from the one that we were doing about myself is the ko. So the suffix, we are putting in KHO. So umama wako. Let me just put in a few here in the chat. I don't know if it's going to behave. No, it's not behaving. Do you see there? I've put in the singular ones for class 1 and for class 1A. Umngani wakho, umyeni wakho, umfowenu, uma wakho, ubhozo wakho, udadewenu. Do you see? Those are all the singulars for class 1 and for class 1A. Now let's do the plurals for class 1 and for class 1A. Abangani bakho, abayeni bakho. So abangani bakho are your friends. Abayeni bakho are your husbands. Obhozo bakho are your big toes. So obhozo bakho, omama bakho are your mothers. Odadewenu are your sisters. And then we go to class 2. Remember we had said umuzi wami, imizi yami, umlenze wami, imilenze yami. Now let's see the plurals of the singulars for things that belong to you, that I am talking about that belongs to you. Umlenze wakho, your leg. Umuzi wakho, your house. Imizi yakho, your houses. Yes, I wish you to have more than one. And wouldn't it be nice if we have more than one in different African countries? Oh, like, can you imagine having a house in Zanzibar and having a house somewhere in Rwanda and having a house somewhere in Ghana or the Gambia and having a house somewhere in Mali? Somewhere close to a pyramid somewhere. Yeah. Okay, let me stop dreaming. So yeah, then imilenze yako, your legs. So let's say umbedo. Let me use a different one. No. Umbedo is silliness and madness. Umbedo. So umbedo wako, your madness and your silliness. And imibedo yako, this is now plural. Your sillinesses and your madnesses. Imibedo yako. Doesn't sound right in English, but it sounds absolutely correct in the isiZulu. So anyway, then we go to class 3. Class 3, it's, let's say, for example, your box. Ibhokisi lakho. You see? Amabhokisi akho. That's plural. Amabhokisi akho. Itafula is a table, and this is a borrowed ankle. So iqakala lakho and amaqakala akho, your ankles. Let's take an animal in class 3. Igundwane. igundwane lakho. I don't know why you have a rat or a mouse, but anyway, then there you do. So your rat and amagundwane akho, your bets. And then let's say class 4. Isiphongo sakho, your forehead. Isiphongo is a forehead. So isiphongo sakho, the plural is iziphongo zakho. So your foreheads, we probably have more than one. I don't know, I can't see. Then isikipa, remember we made an example about a t-shirt and we said isikipa sakho. Isikipa sami is my t-shirt. So isikipa sakho now is yours, and izikipa zakho, your t-shirts. Do you see? The only thing that keeps changing is the last part, so the suffix. We are changing from me to ko. So I think in this case, then we can move on to things that belong to he or she. Wakhe, so the K, K-H-E. I'm just going to make a few examples so that you can see what we are talking about. We stopped on class 4, so now we are just going to continue from class 5. Let's say from class 5, ingane yakhe. Remember we had said ingane yami when we are talking about myself. Now we are talking about he or she, some other person, and we are saying his child or her child, ingane yakhe. And the plural would be izingane zakhe, his or her children. Ingubo, ingubo is a blanket. So if you're talking about my blanket, we would say ingubo yami. And we are talking about your blanket, we would say ingubo yakho. If we are talking about his or her blanket, we would say ingubo yakhe. And then the plural would be izingubo zakhe, izingubo zakhe, izingubo zakho, izingubo zami. Ingqondo, brain. Ingqondo, if I say brain, actually it's a very simple way of saying it. It's actually better than that. It's actually the mind. So ingqondo yakhe, izingqondo zakhe, but that doesn't quite make sense because like how many brains does he have? But maybe he does have more than one brain. Okay, but yeah, so izingqondo zakhe would then be the plural. Oh yes, let me explain why ingubo is also a blanket. First of all, it is a blanket, and then ingubo is then a dress. Not ingubo cannot be clothes. It can only be one dress, a dress. So ingubo is a dress because my ancestors used to wear what their skin would be what they wear. During the day, they wear it, and during at night, it is the same thing that they cover themselves with to keep them from the cold. So that was ingubo. So that is what it is. Ingubo is then both a blanket and a dress. Ingubo. Izingubo are dresses and clothes. Izingubo, dresses and clothes. But ingubo, just a dress and a blanket. So dresses, clothes, blankets is Zulu. So yes. And then let's see. Let's look for something that starts with an IM. We said imbali earlier, so is imbali yake is the singular, imbali yake, and then the plural is imbali zake. Any questions so far? Anyone? If you have a question, please do not keep quiet. Please do ask and let me answer. But be on topic. Don't talk about something that we are not talking about. It doesn't help the group to then talk about something totally different when people come for this topic. So yeah. So imvu was, we would say, is a sheep. So we are saying he is sheep or her sheep. So imvu yake, and izimvu zake, his or her sheep, but plural. So that's what we have for class 5. So let's say, for example, we were talking about his wife, we would say inkosikazi yakhe, amakhosikazi akhe. So his wives. Indoda yakhe, her men, amadoda akhe, her men plural. Indodana yakhe, his or her son. Amadodana akhe, his or her sons. Indodakazi yakhe, her daughter or his daughter. Amadodakazi akhe, his or her daughters. So do you see, the only thing that changes is the last bit, so which is the suffix. We've changed from me, am I, myself, whatever belongs to me, and then we went to KHO, which was whatever belongs to you, and we've gone to KHE, whatever belongs to he or she. And now let's talk about something that belongs to a noun that is in class 5. You know, in class 5 you've got nouns like indoda, a man; indodana, a son; indodakazi, a daughter; inkosikazi, a wife; inkosi, a king; what else? Inkositsina, a concertina; inja, a dog; indlulamthi, a giraffe; indlovu, an elephant. So do you see? Imvubu, a hippopotamus; inzondo, hatred. So you see, so all those words. So things that belong to whatever is, the person. So the possessor is in class 5. The suffix is a yo, y-o. So if I'm saying let's say the noun, whoever we are talking about is ingane. So umama wayo. So umama wayo ingane. So when we are talking about this person, we can even make this shorter and remove that yo and say umama. Oh yeah, I wrote umgani. So umgani wayo, let's say umgani. So umgani wayo, so the child's friend. So now let's make it shorter by removing the suffix and joining those two, the possessive and the child, and say umgani wengani. Now this is what happened here. We had wa, and we put that wa together with ingani. When we blend those two vowels together, the A and the E, the A plus the E is Zulu, but it's an I in the English, we get an E, the letter E. So wengani, that's how we get the wengani. So umgani wengani, do you see that? The friend of the child, umgani wengani. So we've actually made the sentence shorter. So umgani wayo, abangani bayo, their friend, the friend of the children, of the child, of the one child, the friends of the one child. So abangani bayo ingani. So if we were now making this even shorter, we would say abangani bengani. You see that? Abangani bengani. And then if we are talking about umama, we would then say umama wayo. So umama wayo, so the child's mother. And then if we are making it shorter, we would say umama wengani. And then we're making it plural and saying the child's mothers. So mama bayo. And then let's make it shorter and say mama bengani. And then let's say, for example, class 2, because we've done class 1 and class 1A. So class 2, then we would say umuzi wayo, the child's house, or umuzi wayo, let's say the dog, or umuzi wayo indoda, so the man's house, or umuzi wayo inkosikazi, the woman's house, umuzi wayo indodana, the son's house. Do you see? All of them fall into this. Oh, and by the way, let me just clarify. I did get some weird sounding message at some point. Someone saying she is umZulu herself, but she says that she feels like the people who are spoken about in class 5 lack, like their soul is being denied, as though they have no soul. If you look at, because then she as far as she's concerned, class 5 is talking about things. No, class 5 is talking about everything. It's talking about people, it's talking about things. Just like every single class talks about people, talks about things. The only one that doesn't have people is class 7 and class 8. They don't have people. But everything else, all from class 1 all the way to class 6, actually has people. If you have a look at it really, really, really well, which then will bring me to promoting, because then it means that people then need this book. I have a little ebook on Amazon, which is just nouns, nothing but nouns. It's more than 300 nouns. In different classes we've got nouns. So this is going to help you with making sentences, so that you are able to make your own sentences. You've then got your nouns, because I think what happens is when people have a dictionary, then they don't know, they kind of get stuck and still don't know what to do. But when you see the noun in its class already, then you know how to treat that noun. So now you would then see as well that, oh, in class 1 there are things, in class 1 there are people, in class 2 there are things and there are people. In class 3 there are things and there are people. So actually there is no class that we are saying that, oh, here the people who are put here, they are referred to also as things. And there was also a suggestion, that person was suggesting that it was sexist. I didn't see how it was sexist, because indoda, that's a man, is in class 5. Inkosi, which can be a man, a chief or a king, is also in class 5. But then the whole family is in class 5. Ingane, indodana, indodakazi, inkosi, inkosana, inkosazana, so the prince and the princess and the wife of the chief, and so everyone is also in class 5, appears in class 5. So I didn't get why they were suggesting that this was sexist. I didn't get it, but anyway, that's maybe just me being, yeah. But anyway, if you know how that works, how that where that comes from, what that person is coming from, let me know, because I don't see any soul lacking anywhere there. But anyway, that's that. So if you look at these, you are seeing that the only thing that's changing for something that belongs to a person or a thing that is in class 5 is the yo. So the suffix, the yo, that's the only thing that changes. So that's what. So that's what we can then. It's all we can share, I suppose, today, because really it's now really just over an hour, and I don't really want to keep you that long. It's disrespectful of your time. But yeah, we can meet again next Sunday. I will make. I'm going to look at my calendar first and see, and if it works, then I will go ahead and book another one. Please do let me know if this was helpful to you, because then if it wasn't, then there's no point in doing another one. So yes, and then what I will then do after this is I'll post what I have done, the possessives that I've written onto Google Cloud, and then post the link here on the chat, so that you can then have that to refer to. You see, when you're now on your own, that will have more than what I shared, because what I was sharing was only limited by the time that the 1 hour. But there was actually more that I could have shared with you, like theirs, something that belongs to them and things that belongs to us, so that kind of thing. So I'll just put it all in the Google Drive link, and then post the link on the chat here on YouTube. Then you can access that and then go ahead and ask questions. There is no wrong question. When you're trying to learn, you need to learn. So you need to ask questions so that you can practice. So okay, fine. So ngiyabonga kakhulu. Nibe nesonto elihle. I'm going to just type that on the chat. Nibe nesonto elihle. Have a good week. With what I just said. So anyway, nibe nesonto elihle. and ngizonibona ngesonto elizayo. I will see you next Sunday. Nihlale kahle. Bye everybody.